Get to know Candiace Dillard Bassett, an amazing entrepreneur, actress, and cast member on Bravo's The Real Housewives of Potomac. Candiace Dillard Bassett, it is a pleasure to interview you on the Chundria Show today. How are you?
I'm doing very well, as well as can be expected. We are in unprecedented times. I'm sick of saying that, but we are. And, I'm just trying to make the best of it. And I'm grateful for technology and to be able to be with you on the other coast today.
On the other coast, all the way on the other side, but that's okay. We're here today, connected. So you're known for Housewives of Potomac fame and the Real Housewives of Potomac fame, and I think that is awesome. I've been watching the show and watching your growth and watching you develop. You're an entrepreneur, so you're just a fantastic and amazing person, inspirational, and just learning about your backstory when I got your bio. I didn't know that you grew up in Atlanta and that you were a Southern girl from Mississippi. I had no idea. My family's from Mississippi, so that really touched my heart. Yeah. So how did you get from Atlanta to Washington, D.C.?
The short answer is Howard University.
Howard University.
But I knew that I wanted to attend an HBCU from very early on, because I did grow up in predominantly white spaces. And, when you become aware of being proud of your heritage and of your Blackness, you sort of thirst for that community more. And that's sort of what happened with me. And I knew that I had lacked the Black experience that I knew would make me whole if I could have that kind of community around me in a consistent way outside of my family. And so when it was time to apply to schools, I applied to many schools, but Howard, and I will say the other HU, Hampton, was on my list. But when I got into Howard, it was immediate. I knew that I was going. My mom, who I was very close to, was not very happy. She wanted me to stay close by, but she was very supportive, and she came up and helped me move in and did all the freshman things that you do. And Howard changed my life, and being in the chocolate city, as it is so affectionately referred, it changed me, because Howard is a campus that is not sort of cordoned off or gated off in its own little oasis. It's smack dab in the middle of Northwest DC, and you are getting a DC experience as a Howard student. And that's what I got. And it grew me up very quickly. It made me scrappy. It made me smart. It made me savvy. And not to jump the gun, but it's also what prompted me to write I See You, the original, and then to dedicate the original as the remix, which is a go-go remix, because go-go is the official music of DC. So that's
You're old to DC. You're old to DC. That's so sweet. And so you graduated from Howard, and you stayed in DC, right?
I did, yes. So I have been here for about 15 years. So I'm a Southern girl at heart, but I am probably a Washingtonian now. But I'll always be a Southern girl at heart.
15 years is a long time. They can claim you now.
Yes, they can. Yes, and they do. Thankfully, they have embraced me. But yes, I graduated from Howard. I just never left. And a lot of my friends have similar stories. We all kind of just became permanent transplants, if you will. And it's been amazing. My sister kind of followed in my footsteps as well, and when she graduated from high school, she popped up here, and she is now about to complete her master's program at Hopkins, but she did her undergrad at Howard as well. My stepdad before us did his engineering and medical degree at Howard, so we have kind of a little miniature.
Wow, they're gonna have a wing for you all over there soon.
Right? Yes, to work on that.
That is fantastic. Okay, so obviously you stayed in DC, and that's where you met your husband. Tell me the story how you two met.
So my husband and I met as friends, and he was never someone that I saw myself marrying. So that's a lesson to all of my single women out here, my dating women out here, that often people ask me, what was the magic moment? What was the key to you finding your husband? It was being open. And I say that because when I met him, we were simply friends. We met at a restaurant in DC. We were both working at this restaurant in DC, which is now gone, but it was a dim sum restaurant in DuPont Circle. And we hit it off as friends. We loved to talk and hang out in groups. We loved to, we were both dating other people at the time, so we would talk to one another about our relationships. But we just always kept in touch, just as friends. And I always said that I would never, ever, ever date a man who had kids or a man who had been married previously. And Chris had 2 strikes. So, and I kind of expressed that to him in a way without even knowing that, I was expressing it to him. And he said to me later that he knew that he'd never had a shot with me because I was very vehement about, not breaking those rules for myself. Obviously, I ate those words. We remained friends for years, for maybe 3 or 4 years. And then we worked together again at another restaurant in DC. We were both still dating other people. And I was kind of breaking up and he was kind of breaking up. And I was launching my pageant consulting firm, Candiace Dillard Pageant Consulting. And I would talk to him about, the numbers part of sort of launching a business and spreadsheets and how to set my prices because he's very quantitative. And when I launched, he wanted to support me by taking me out. And I thought we were going to go to, a bar and have a drink. And lo and behold, he makes the reservation at a very fancy white tablecloth restaurant with, $30, $40 plate meals. And we sat there all night and talked. And then we went to 2 or 3 other bars and had more drinks and hung out and listened to karaoke. We got back in my car and we talked until we fell asleep. And then the sun came up and we were together from that day to this day.
Made it official.
Yes. Well,
it's on the list. You let go of the list. I mean, that's an inspirational story, especially for women that are single or dating, or you may have these non-negotiables that you are with. Like, I'm not letting that go. You can't have this, or if you have that, then I'm not interested. And so, by you letting that go, you were never able to find love.
I opened love at that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And, there are certain things that are true non-negotiables. Only you can say those things. But obviously you want a man that's going to respect you. You all want to be equally yoked as far as finances. Do you want to have children? Political affiliation can often be a contentious topic in a marriage. So those things, I would say, are the top things that you want to have in common or have a yoking of sorts. But outside of that, we and Black women, we have a standard, and we know that our standard is what's going to get us to the promised land. But sometimes the standard can prevent us from getting to where we want to be in a happy marriage. And I had to let some of those things go, and it's a challenge at times, and it was more so in the beginning a challenge, dealing with an ex-wife, and the children weren't an issue, but just dealing with the adjusting to all of it.
His entire world. You have to accept his entire world.
Exactly. And some people have more trouble than others accepting things. So that was a bit of a challenge at first, but you work your way through it, and you lean on each other. And you try not to let outside factors permeate your bond. And that's what we really become experts at.
I think that Southern love where you were able to embrace him and care for him, care for everybody, respect him, to have compassion for his situation and see beyond that. So I love that. I'm happy for you all, and congrats on your upcoming anniversary this summer.
It's crazy.
All right, let's talk about the Real Housewives of Potomac. What is it like being on set? Like, we see the world and it's all edited and put together, and the promos and whatnot, and producers are driving this thing. But what is it like for you being on set?
Well, we don't call it set. Because it's reality, we are just in our lives.
Okay.
So they don't even like to refer to them as scenes. But, when you're watching the show, it's like, well, in that scene where Giselle and Karen were, shooing away to the mime, it is a scene. But there are moments. So being a part of the show and being, in those moments. At first, it was a little nerve-wracking. I have an acting background, so I was used to, being around cameras and being around a lot of different people and having people come in and, tell you to move over here, or we got to stop to change this light. That stuff I was used to, but this is different because it's, I'm not putting on a character. I'm the character. It's me. It's my life. It's my personality. And it's kind of left open and vulnerable for the entire world to criticize, and that is difficult. But being in the moments, you kind of just go with it. And now that I've wrapped my 3rd season, which is unbelievable. It's come naturally to me, and I think more so than me, it was more of an adjustment for my husband, for Chris, because he was not used to this world. So, being in a scene or being in a moment, and a producer comes in and says, "So this isn't really working. Like, you seem uncomfortable. We want you to be comfortable," and having us, warm up and kind of get used to the moment. That was an adjustment for us, but especially for him. But outside of that, it's they come in, they set up, and we're usually talking before cameras even go up.
Okay.
So it's very natural, and you just kind of ease into it. And
then there's a whole crew, and then team there. So it's a house. People are just invading your house.
There's a house full of people. that is, but they're very respectful.
Right.
One thing I can say about our crew is I've never had a negative experience with anyone on our crew. Our producers are amazing. They wear booties on their feet, so they're not tracking dirt into your house. Is it okay if I move this, or can I do this and put this here?
So they're very respectful.
Yeah, so that's I attribute that to our staffing. Our production company, Truly Original, is great, and they employ wonderful people.
Did anything happen they're not on set, but anything happen, during filming that we may not have gotten to see? Like behind the scenes or in front of the scenes?
Yeah, a lot of things. I forget how much time do we have. We film hours and upon hours of footage. And I always say this because we film so much, and then it's whittled down to 43 minutes per episode. There are hundreds of hours of footage that you don't see, that you sometimes never see. Sometimes they kind of compile it and make a blooper reel, or like Atlanta Housewives just did a Secrets Revealed episode where they basically show footage that was not seen during the season. Can I reveal anything? Well, I can't talk about anything happening in season 5 yet, because as you all know, our season was pushed back, which is really unfortunate. It sucks. So I have to hold off on discussing anything that happened in season 5. But I can tell you that, yes, there are a lot of things that you don't see that happen behind the scenes that sometimes becomes a hindrance to the storyline and to the narrative that's being told, because things are left out. Things kind of, it can make a moment disjointed, and then we are sort of forced to, present those facts. And at that time, a lot of times our producers will flash back to the thing that was not seen. And there will probably be some instances of that in this season.
So you may have to later defend as well.
Exactly. Yes.
Do you have any regrets about anything that you've done or said on the show?
This is always a question that I get, and my answer is, I always think about it, and my answer is always no. Because, I've had some pretty wild and crazy moments. I've had some contentious moments. I've had some really emotional moments on the show. I can't really think of anything, regardless of how contentious it might have been, that I would take back, because I try to live authentically, and in the moment, that's how I felt. And that was my emotion. That's where I was. And even, going back and watching things play out. And that's the gift and the curse of the show, is that most people don't get to see what they said and did played back live and in living color for the world. So to get to see it played back, you really do get to say, wow, that was a powerful moment, or wow, that was probably really dumb, or that maybe I would have said that differently. So in that regard, yes, there are certain things that I might have communicated differently, but I still would have said.
Got it. I think you're very brave reality TV has its, people can have their opinions about reality TV, but to hear that, you have cameras, you have crew, and there are hours upon hours of your life being filmed, in some of your most vulnerable moments. I just think that it's a very brave thing for you to do, to be able to, put yourself out there, put your life out there, your relationship out there, and regardless of how people feel about it, you're at all times being authentically you, and I think that we can all learn from that to be more authentic.
Yes, it is a quick lesson in being true to yourself, because one thing about all reality shows is the camera does not lie. The camera picks up on every note, every disingenuous or incredibly genuine moment. The camera sees it. So when you have a hunch that maybe something isn't right here, that's the camera picking up on a moment that might not be completely genuine. So it forces you in a way to really live your most authentic life and take in authenticity in the space, because when you don't, you pay for it. You pay for it later with the audience and with editing.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your artistry. A lot of people may not know that you have been singing for a very long time. You've been in love with music for a very long time, and I was actually really excited to learn that about you. When did you develop your love for singing and songwriting?
It's always been there. I credit my dad, really, because my father he was a musician. He played the snare drum. He was a drum major in college at Troy State University, an alpha man. I'm really proud of my dad. And he's always loved music. And I'm pretty sure he played music like on my mom's belly when I was in her womb. Oh. And when I came out, he used to tell me that if I couldn't fall asleep, that the only way that he could get me to sleep was to play Vesta. And I don't know if you know,
I know Vesta.
Yeah, that's what would lull me to sleep, was Vesta.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, right. So it's always been in me, and I would, even when music is playing in the background and I'm doing something else, I'll look up, 10 minutes after music starts playing and realize that I'm tapping my foot, or that, I'm singing along in my head to the music, or that I'm moving my body in some way to the beat. It's just literally inside of me is the love for music.
Now you said you have a background in acting, and you're a reality star, but you also have recently done some acting. You were just featured on Family Reunion alongside Tia Mowry on Netflix, which is a fantastic show as well. How was it acting alongside Tia Mowry?
Oh my gosh. Well, this experience on Netflix, which is crazy to say, I have a credit for a show on Netflix. This was an incredible experience. It was my biggest project to date. I have several web series, my first independent feature, which is called Water in a Broken Glass, under my belt. And so to get to this place, and I'm, in Jesus' name, it's up from here, was incredible. It was, I have to say this too. I have to say this because I truly believe it, that you speak into your life the things that you want, and life and death is in the power of the tongue. And I said for a year before I was casted for this not a very big, it's a small role on Family Reunion. I said every day, I'm going to be on Netflix. And when Netflix calls, I'm going to be ready to go. I said it every day out of my mouth. And I didn't know, I had no idea what was coming, what was happening, but I knew what I wanted, and I spoke that. So I just want to make that clear and put that out there, that still works, that speaking things into existence still works. So I spoke Netflix into existence.
Yes,
And yeah. And so to be on set with Tia Mowry and I did not have scenes with Ms. Loretta Devine or Mr. Richard Roundtree, but to be on the set around them and, to walk by them with my lunch when we're breaking for lunch, and it was crazy. It's like, am I here? Is this really happening? I'm like pinching myself because it doesn't seem real. But what I can tell you is, number one, this is the second majority minority set I've been on. When I shot Water in a Broken Glass, we shot that in Baltimore, Maryland. It was centered around the city of Baltimore, and it was about a family and a friendship that grew up in Baltimore. But it's still surreal to me to be on any set, but to be on set with minorities, with people that look like me, with writers who look like me, with a showrunner that looks like me, and with a cast that that runs the gamut of Black beauty and magic, is incredible. And to work with these incredible writers, and it's women, Black women. A lot of them are Black women who understand our narrative and understand our story, and tell it in a way that is palatable and funny, but still relevant. It's so important. And to do that alongside someone that I grew up watching on Sister and in all of their projects, Tia and Tamara. Tia was incredible to work with. She's down to earth. She's very chill. She's a very Zen-like energy. She's like any other girl, any other woman that I would, be friends with. I could see myself, hanging out with her and us being friends. She was that easy to be around and professional, and she's just great to work with on set, and it was incredible. I still don't believe it happened, and I won't believe it until I see it, honestly.
I'm excited about this experience for you. What's next, though, in terms of your aspirations as an actress? What do you plan for? What do you dream about now? You brought that credit to life, so yes. What are your goals now, or what are your dreams now?
So the other thing
you got this manifestation down.
Yep. So. Mm-hmm. That's there, my lips to God's ears. No, the one thing that I also manifest, and I say a lot, is that I want to play either alongside Kerry Washington or play a younger version of Kerry Washington. I love her as an actor. I've loved her since Save the Last Dance, but obviously we all know her from Scandal. Mm-hmm. And I'm obsessed with Little Fires Everywhere.
Yes.
We just finished it like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, I need more. Like, where's the rest?
Yeah, I definitely feel cheated also.
Yes, right? Yes. So, and she, she's an incredible actor. She's an incredible producer. She's a Jane of all trades, and she's professional and she's respected. So I just look up to her so much because she's like the total package as an actor in a Hollywood that is trying to do better, but still has more work to do as it relates to creating more space for minority artists to come in and show their work. So I love that she marches to her own drum, and I would love to work with her. I would also love to go back to Family Reunion. That is a possibility. So once we can get the world back up and running and they can finish shooting season 2 of Family Reunion, I would love to go back there. That was the most incredible set to be on with the most incredible people. So I would love to do that. And I'm going to put out there too that the silver screen is in my future. I would love to work alongside so many different amazing actors in film. So
I can see that for you. I know you will manifest it, and I look forward to seeing more of you on television and on television screens and film screens to come. So I'm excited. I'll be like, oh my God, I interviewed her.
I'll come back and talk about whatever new project.
All right. You heard it right here.